Hello, welcome. This week I'm going to share some of my favorite go-to from scratch meals that my family loves. These are all super easy to make, don't require any crazy ingredients or gear, so I really hope that you'll try out a few of them. I personally started making from scratch meals because I realized they're so much healthier for you, they're cheaper, and they just taste better. My family really enjoys them, and that's so nice to see, right? My whole family loves a whole roasted chicken with carrots and onions and a side of mashed potatoes. It makes such a big difference to brine your chicken before, so I do a couple tablespoons of salt, maybe 1 or 2 tablespoons of sugar, let it dissolve in some warm water, and then add the chicken in, then top it up with some cold water. You don't want too warm water here, and then I put it away in the refrigerator to brine for about an hour. This is a pretty small chicken, so I don't brine it for too long. If you're interested, the best deal I've been able to find on a whole chicken is at Costco. I think I can get a whole organic chicken, a 2-pack, for around $30. When I first wanted to start cooking from scratch meals, I had recently read or heard someone talking about how in order to be successful in meal planning, you need to have 20 core meals that you can easily make, that you know like the back of your hand, and that's easy to get the ingredients to. So I applied that to from scratch cooking. I would try out 1 or 2 each week in my meal planning, find the ones that we loved, and trashed and learned from the ones that we didn't love. From there, I was able to build up to about 20 or 30 now that I have, and it is so nice to actually know a recipe, like not having to look back at your phone the entire time. It creates such a nice little groove that you can get into your kitchen, and I find it so much more enjoyable. It's about like an hour 15 minutes later. The chicken's done brining. I don't really like to brine it too long. I find it becomes a little too salty. So I'll go ahead and brine, take it out, dry it off, tie it up, and then put it on top of the carrots to go ahead and throw in the oven because I feel like it always takes longer than I want it to. And at the same time, I'll go ahead and peel the potatoes and throw them in some water, let them soak a little bit until I need to use them closer to probably around 4, so in an hour and a half. I actually find soaking them, it's nice to kind of do that now so there's less to do later when the boys are a little bit more fussy. They also kind of cook a little bit more evenly. It takes some of that starch out, so it also works better for like a better mashed potato. So not necessary, but I like to take a piece of string and tie it up because I find otherwise the legs of the chicken kind of start to fall apart a little bit too much from the bone, and my oldest son really likes to eat that. Like, I feel like he likes the novelty of eating it off the bone a little bit. I know like a lot of food, like getting kids to eat is a lot about making it fun and asking them questions, not about focusing on just eating. Make that delicious skin, I like to use coconut oil. I think the recipe that I'll link below that I kind of loosely follow uses olive oil, but I like to use coconut oil because it's going to be done at a pretty high heat, which reminds me I always need to preheat the oven. It always takes forever, which is why I love this thing. But we need to use the big oven for this. So 425 I think it is. If not, I'll check that a little later just to make sure and update it. But we don't have a microwave. Ours blue, and I've just never really replaced it. Sorry, my allergies. I actually found that I can just, my mom showed me, which I don't know why I didn't think of before, but I just kind of heat butter or coconut oil, and this can warm up a lot, so we don't need it, but it's kind of like to melt things. I just kind of throw them in some sort of something that go on the stove and melt directly there. This does get kind of hot, I will say, so make sure you use your gloves. I have burnt myself. Any seasoning will work pretty good. I like to add garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of thyme, rosemary, paprika, and actually rubbed sage works really good too on chicken. I have this ThermoPro, which I highly recommend. It's not too expensive. I think I got this on Amazon. I could try to find the link and add it below, but I really like this one. The only thing is my son really likes to play with. I put my oven on around 400 usually, or 425 if I'm in a rush, and then cook the temperature of the chicken to 175. I like to think it's 165 that you say you must cook it to, but I like to go a little over just to make sure, and it still turns out nice and juicy. I've actually put the probe in the wrong spot here. Being in a rush, it needs to go underneath, like in this angle it's shown in the picture, underneath the leg through into the bottom part of the chicken thigh, hitting no bone. So that's the best place for that to go to make sure you get an accurate reading. I like to let my chicken rest in the oven, so after it hits that, I turn the oven off and let the chicken rest pretty much in the oven. It stays warm all the way till dinner. It helps the skin get nice and crispy and helps the chicken retain all those juices. And then you don't have to worry about reheating it, and it's just kind of ready to go when you are ready with the mashed potatoes or whenever you're ready to eat. Needed a break, so went outside to see what the boys were doing, and so nice to see my husband and dad working together. We're putting some edging around the flower bed, and my son of course had to get in there too. We're starting to do a lot more outdoor activities, gardening and landscaping things now that spring is here, and my son always likes to get in there and help out more, really make a bigger mess and supervise, but it's nice to see. I actually think this stone edging made such a big impact to the front of our house. We were able to get it at Lowe's for about $100. Not super cheap, but I think it made such a big impact to like our curb appeal. Almost dinner time now. The chicken's ready, so time to like mix up those mashed potatoes. I like to use my KitchenAid mixer for this. I actually found it works the best. I'm sure there's probably a better way, but it's really quick and allows me to do some other things at the same time. I'm adding the warm milk and butter at the same time, and I actually think it works best to add the warm milk and then some softened cube butter. They turn out the best like that. This was a new way of trying it, but definitely do a little bit of warm milk in there and then about a fourth a cup of softened butter, kind of depending on how many potatoes you have. And here she is. I think it's my best chicken yet. So good. I forgot to mention that you need to add a little water in the bottom of the pan so that the carrots remain nice and juicy and not too dry. Tonight for dinner, we're gonna have a crusted cod with a creamy garlicky pasta and roasted red peppers. It goes really well together, and I find it's one of the few ways I can get my toddler to eat fish. I haven't found a good salmon recipe for kids, like young kids, so let me know if you found one. He actually eats the cod, and my baby really devours all of it, but he's a good little eater. This is like a wild cod that I get from Costco, which is a pretty good deal. It has previously been frozen, so it's not as fresh, but I think it's like $19 for this, so it's a really good deal, and it'll last like 2 meals, or either have the leftovers for lunch or for dinner the next night as well, so it goes a long way. I really love this meal. We have it probably once every 2 weeks. I'm just gonna prep a few of the things now. It's right after lunch, so I have about 15 minutes to do the prep, and then later in the afternoon I can throw it all together. I love this because the pasta and sauce all cooks in one pan and the rest goes in the little toaster oven, so we have like a meal that comes together at the end of the day, especially with the prep, in like a matter of 15 to 20 minutes. And if you don't use scissors to cut things, my husband's Korean and he uses scissors to cut so many things, so we have this big pair of like kitchen scissors that he got from the Korean grocery store, and it really works well for cutting fish. And then you don't have to get the like cutting board out to like cut it and deal with cleaning up all that. I go ahead and prepare the crust for the cod so that it makes it a little bit easier later. It needs garlic, and so does the pasta, so I go ahead and mince all of that together and save some for the pasta later on. I don't know why, but I really hate doing garlic, but it makes such a difference to use real garlic, but just one of those things I don't like doing for some reason. For the crust, I add breadcrumbs, olive oil, salt and pepper, and paprika. And this time I didn't actually have any breadcrumbs on hand. I forgot to get them, but I just pulled some sourdough bread that I always keep in my freezer for moments like this, or when I randomly need a piece of bread or have got behind on my schedule. Pulled it out, toasted it. I would toast it a little bit longer next time so it's more crispy, but it turned out so good and actually I think made the crust a lot better. With the meal prepped, we were able to go to a nearby park for almost an hour and just enjoy this lovely spring weather. I don't enjoy meal prepping all like on a Sunday or one day, but I do love having meals that allows me to do a little bit throughout the day so that it doesn't take up so much time at the end of the day. Otherwise, with nap, activity, and making a meal, it's just not enough time and kids get hungry early. So it allows us to go have fun and, so worth it when you see your son clicking his heels like this. I usually try to slice the bell peppers before, but I had forgot. But here I just quickly did that, toss them in some olive oil and throw them in the toaster oven. And then just cook the garlic in a little bit of olive oil and throw some homemade chicken stock into the pan to bring to a boil so that the pasta can cook in that, which makes it extra delicious. While that's going and starting to boil, I just prepare the cod, throw a little bit of olive oil, lemon juice on top, and then put the crust that I prepared on top and throw that into the toaster oven as soon as the bell peppers are out for about 13 minutes, and it comes out perfect. I like to use angel hair for this recipe. I've tried a few pastas and think this definitely works the best, and the kids love it too. But you pretty much just need to cook the pasta in the chicken stock. Sometimes I need to add a little bit more if it's not quite cooked enough. But once it's cooked, then I just throw in a little bit of cream and Parmesan, and then those lovely roasted bell peppers to add a vegetable. I love this recipe. It comes together so easy. Everyone gobbles it up, including myself. It's just so good. You've got to try it.